Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I want to talk about how recently VP Nightfall just took a dump on EG as Bristleback. This is a hero that recently got buffed. Its ultimate duration per stack went from 16 seconds to 20 at max, from 16 to 18 at level 2 and stayed the same at level 1. And so this is a hero that I really think can dominate in pubs. As long as you follow the advice I'm about to give, literally you can go on massive win rates with this hero, and let's get into it. By the way guys, if you want to become absolutely broken, well, what you need to do is sign up to the GameLeap website down below right now. The reason why you should do that is because every single day we post a new video there. Content that you simply just will never get on YouTube, we post every single day to the website. It's really top tier stuff. I'm very proud of what I make over there. We also have other creators, many of my great friends who are top tier Dota players, creating guides about different heroes, different roles, different items, skill builds, talent builds, everything you need to know to get to the next rank. So if you feel a little bit lost, you're a little bit stuck, click the link down below. I'll see you guys there. And now let's get into the video. Alright, so hopping into the laning stage, the main thing to note is his very odd starting build. Clearly he's a very hungry boy, but basically he buys 4 mangoes, 6 tangos, and a quelling blade. After that, he immediately rushes a soul ring, and the reason why this is weird is Bristleback doesn't have stellar base damage. It's not terrible, but with 2 gauntlets you go up to 61, which is considered to be like solid base damage. You know, that's a pretty high number. However, he just all ins on mangoes. And I think the main reason for that in this specific game is because he's against the Lycan. He knows that spamming the quills against the wolves basically makes it impossible for wolves to contest the lane, and so this is a good way to basically just play the lane against a hero like Lycan. Now, I think the best time to pick Bristleback in this current meta is against primarily physical damage. And the reason for that is the build we're about to see is really broken in my opinion if you're against only physical damage. On top of that, one thing to note about this laning stage is that the main thing you want to do on Bristleback is secure good CS. The big mistake people make early on into the lane as Bristleback is they go way too aggressive, and you can see Nightfall in this laning stage has really not put too much pressure on Ice or Crit's IO at all. In fact, he's spent most of the time just focusing on getting his Ring of Regen at a very reasonable timing. I recommend you try to strive for about this 3-minute timing as well in your games. You can pick up the item at the enemy secret shop as well. And yeah, this is just going to make your lane really easy. Look at Bristleback as more of a hard carry. I don't think people do this because they're like, oh, it's a hero that can fight. This is the bully hero. But no, you want to scale as hard as possible, and the best way to do that is obviously through high CS. Kind of to exemplify the point why you should play like generally passive with this build, unless the enemy just tanks 5 quills without retreating, is because you just don't really go boots, and that's okay. Like, the build you're about to see, the main purpose of it is to be this wall, be this tank that farms absolutely everything in the safe lane, picks up a stupid amount of net worth, and then abuses the game when it hits its Ags timing, which we'll get into. But yeah, him and, Kingslayer decided to dive the tower, and, it's a pretty cool lane. The minus armor plus the Elder Titan lane here it's a very strong combo. It's obviously something that makes a lot of sense to me, right? ET gives Bristleback a good start, Bristleback reduces armor and slows, and that sets up for ET's high damage. But he ended up diving the tower there, and honestly, Bristle, especially if you don't go boots, is a low armor hero, right? Only 4 at minute 5 is not too great with low movement speed. Now, once you have your soul ring and your ring of health, what you want to start doing is amplifying your farm. Please, I know I'm stressing this a lot, but like what you'll see from Nightfall here is that he's basically going to take this wave and just drag it to the large camp. And you can do this every single time, and if you do this consistently 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a lane, all of a sudden you're going to be top net worth every single game. Like, reliably you'll be top net worth because no one else is doing this type of thing. So as you can see here, once again, he's going to go try to clear out the large camp. He has to be a little bit careful about Lycan trying to snipe it, so he didn't do another drag there. But overall, once again, just amping up the farm over and over again. Now here, he's going to push in the cart, right? Get every single last hit, shove in the wave, and sort of rinse repeat over and over and over again. Another thing you want to do when you're playing Bristleback in this flash farming way is drag camps together. You can see in this clip here, he's going to use the quill spray to drag the small camp and the large camp together, and you can do that on both sides of the map. It's not nearly as effective on Radiant because the Radiant camps have to walk much further around, so especially if you're on Dire, that's when this Bristleback pick is an absolute menace. And yeah, you can see you easily do it on Dire. So basically the main requisites for being as dominant as Nightfall is obviously having stupid good CS. Literally he has 70 at minute 9. I see players, the average Dota player has 70 last hits at like minute 15 in a lot of their games. Minute 15. He has 70 at minute 8. And so yeah, you just drag the camps together on Dire, you rush a Vanguard, and no one can contest you. Like basically you're ungankable unless the enemy has very specific heroes, like something like a Viper. Even then, a lot of the time, you can just TP out. And lastly, to really sum up the early game before we move on to the Ags mid game, you're gonna see him get ganked here, but the main thing is just don't leave your safe lane. Let your offlaner farm the off lane, let your mid laner farm the mid lane. Don't TP to fights unless it's like a deep multi-man dive under a tower where you know for a fact you're going to be able to clean up 2-3 kills easily. Not potentially, easily. Otherwise, just sit in your safe lane, make it an inhabitable place for anyone who comes through, and then just farm everything in the area. On top of that, I love this clip here because he literally just kind of walks off a gank. Beautiful sleep, to be fair, from the ET. That was stupid good. In terms of a sleep from the ET, my god, saving him from the follow-up stun from the DK. But nonetheless, you can see just defending top lane, top lane, top lane. And realistically, if you're not playing against EG, you will never ever get ganked in a way that can kill you because of how tanky you actually are. Following up as well, if you can ask your team for ancient stacks, obviously this is a huge deal for Bristleback. It's very, very easy to kill ancient stacks, and it really costs you nothing compared to a lot of heroes that have to expend many resources to kill ancient stacks. Not really the case for Bristleback, he just kind of easily kills them. And you can notice, if we look at the net worth here, even though he is currently 0-1, literally no kills, he is significantly higher net worth than your average 3 to 4k MMR Bristleback, who would have 3 or 4 kills right now. Right? That's in a good game, right? That's not a good game, you know? That's disregarding the games where people are like 0-4 because they're diving and feeding and getting tilted, right? So this is a, you know, this is a game where he's 0-1 and yet he is still top net worth in the game. And honestly, this is how you know it's a really good Dota player. I want you guys to really pay attention to how good pros are when it comes to being able to shift the way they play the game just based around timings, right? His team decides to group up mid here, so he gets his Axe and his team's here. A big mistake a lot of people would make in this case though is that they would get their Axe and they would run down mid with no teammates. That's not what you want to do. You either want to force a tower fight with teammates, or you just want to keep farming until your team's ready to take a fight. Don't try to 1v5, guys. Like you can, and it will be fun, but you're probably just going to die. Now, the next things I want to note about Bristleback with Ags is a couple things. So the first items you want to buy after this Ags are treads. He didn't upgrade to treads right away. He wanted to get the Ags as soon as possible, but he goes back for the treads. After that, he's going to go into a casual cloak. I personally think Wand is somewhat of a non-negotiable. He ends up skipping it this game. You can have a lot of mana problems. In this game, there's going to be multiple times where his Pugna actually has to give him mana, so he might have like sort of kept that into consideration. To be fair, if you do buy a Wand, you're going to have slot issues early on. Like it's a guarantee. So yeah, I think he's mostly relying on the Pugna here to basically heal him up. And you can even see when they're taking Roche here, which is something you can easily do with the Axe, he even needs the Pugna to heal him up a little bit because Bristleback can't really solo Roche this early on. You can Roche and you could solo it if you're like really patient with Quills, but if you want to take it even relatively quickly, you either need someone to tank for you for a portion of the Roshan, not the entire time, you're pretty tanky, or you need someone to heal you like a Pugna in this case. And you can see the nice thing about this Axe is what it lets you do is increase the amount of stacks you can put up to 7. It used to be 8, unfortunately now it's 7, but the thing is that's good enough to essentially take Roshan. For anyone who also doesn't know what the Axe does at all, basically it makes Goo an AoE ability that has no cast point, and it increases the stacks. And yeah, every single game, basically if you can hit this timing, you're chilling. You want to get Aegis, heal up, and then run down lanes. Not to the point where you're diving towers immediately, but we'll get into that. Okay, moving ahead here to the 25-minute mark before we get into our first major team fight where he pops off, because literally all pros do at TI is just AFK and hit creeps as the game's 7-6 at the 25-minute mark. He buys a BKB, okay? He does have a Sunge as well. That's largely just to increase the regen that he's going to get, a little bit of status resist. Personally, I think if you're going to buy Sange, you 100% have to buy Yasha, as it gives you 10% more status resist, movement speed, which is really nice with the Warpath. It always is going to max you out. So at some point in the game, you will buy Sange and Yasha. He has it queued up. But the big thing here is the BKB, okay? BKB. Now, you guys might be watching this saying, oh my god, but the enemy team doesn't even have that much magical damage. I can't believe he's buying a BKB. That's not even the point. Yes, can he die to their magical damage? Of course, of course. The big thing about BKB is the fact that it lets you hit people. Okay, guys? Bristleback, in this fashion, just needs to hit people. You see how he has 7 Warpath stacks? That's not even the max. The max is 9. Okay? That's not even the max. He hits for 4 100, and he's constantly reducing armor by 3, right? The first stack is actually -5. It's that good. Please buy a BKB so you can hit people. It's not even really a defensive item. It's more of an offensive item. And like almost no one in Dota understands this. I'm teaching it to you now. Just get it through your head. And upcoming in this clip here, you're going to see how BKB really is not only the best defensive item, but it's also the best offensive item. Enemy team goes in, they want to focus down the Bristleback. If he had different items, they would potentially be able to do it. They would drop the Snapfire ulti, they would drop some remnants, they would commit with the Lycan, they would do it, right? They would try to burst him, I think so. I mean, I know so. But the thing is, he pops BKB and the fight's over. EG all of a sudden realizes, well, we can't actually go onto the backline, right? Because if we try to go to the backline, Bristleback's just gonna slow us all, reduce all of our armor, and club us down. So they have to retreat on all of these heroes. So Bristleback is the perfect frontliner here with the BKB because of that. They can't just kite him. And so Abed jumps to the backline. Because of this BKB, Abed now is going to end up getting chain stun in a second here. Right? He gets echoed. So Abed gets chain stun. And look at the backline. Nightfall is just ripping them to shreds. He literally is creating the perfect wall. They couldn't do anything to help Abed here. They all had to run away. And the Lycan looks so shit here. This hero that is usually so strong at these 20 to 30 minute fights just gets 3-shot. Also briefly in terms of talents, the talents you want to take are 2 mana regen, 200 HP, 20 HP regen, and then Warpath damage per stack. I'll get into the Warpath damage per stack when he takes it. It's one of the most broken talents into the game. I also think 20 attack speed at 15 is actually better than 200 health. I'm just telling you when Nightfall goes here, but personally I like the attack speed. And I'm coming here, this is where the fights are insane for Bristleback, and you just can't even go. I mean, like, literally, their Underlord's not in here, it just doesn't matter. If you can build up some early Q stacks, it's just impossible for the enemy team to fight you. You can see in this clip here, he's currently hitting for 450 damage, and all you need to do on Bristleback to win the fights is not get insta-bursted. On top of that, you also don't want to get instantly dropped to half HP. You can see as he ran in here, he was a little bit hesitant to go in. That might seem weird. It's like, but he has BKB speed. The thing is, he wants to build up a couple stacks, let his team get in position, right? A little bit of patience, just let his team get into position. Then, once they're all ready to go and a Fisher comes out, then he's going to look to commit. So just a little bit of patience prevents him from getting chipped down, and that lets him easily clean up this fight. Already just building up the goos on everyone. I mean, there's just nothing they can do to take the fight. A little bit of an early BKB on his end here, but yeah, it just doesn't matter. The enemy team can't do anything to him. And honestly, look at this Dragonite, right? This is a Dragon Knight. That is a Dragonite. Right? One of the highest armor heroes in the game. He did half of his HP in like 4 auto attacks. And yeah, kind of the main gist of Bristleback is just to hit the first person you see as he runs at the Lycan here. And the reason for that is if you go for anyone besides the first person you see or the closest person to you, unless it's like some really mobile hero, right? Like you shouldn't chase a Puck or an Ember as right, Bristleback, unless they're out of mana or spells, which is, it's up to you to figure out if that's the case. Other than that, what you really need to do is just go after the first person. You need to stay close to your team and be a wall, right? Be this menace, this wall that just gets in the way of the enemy team, and that's exactly what they do. He just kills the Lycan, right, follows up on the chain stun on the Ember, and easily cleans up the fight. And the big thing here, you can see his team is just not taking any damage. The only person they killed was a Pugna, who they all end on with a Lycan and an Ember. You know, it's pretty hard for Bristle to stop that, but everything else, he easily stopped. After that, immediately back into the Roshan pit. Very fast Roshan, you're one of the best Roshers into the game. Free Aghanim Shard, Bristleback has one of the better Aghanim Shard in Dota. If you don't know what it does, it gives you a hairball. It basically emits a goo stack and 2 quill stacks onto whoever you go on. And by the way, those 2 quill stacks add up fast. They add up really, really, really fast. Because basically it makes every extra quill do an extra 70 damage. And the goo is the big part. Really, just adding goo onto people matters so much in the mid to late game. And as he picks up his last item, Shivas, he's now gonna go end the game. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to show you guys the prowess of the level 25 talent, but what I love so much about Bristleback is he's always a good hero. Like, literally, this hero never has, like, a point in the game where it's just a bad hero. You know what I mean? If you think about a hero like Naga, it's like, okay, the hero takes a while to come online. Same thing for a lot of carries, but Bristleback is kind of just always strong. And with this level 25 talent, we'll get a glimpse of it as he's ending the game. But the main thing here is it basically gives you an extra 24 damage per stack. You multiply that by 9, that's about 200 extra damage. Literally, this talent is basically a free rapier, right? Well, not exactly, but get the point. It's quite a bit of damage. And so yeah, Bristleback just scales. You might be wondering why he went Shivas instead of AC here. I do really like AC, and a lot of games, basically what you'll see in the late game is that the Vanguard will get upgraded into an Abyssal, and then they'll go AC, and that gives you a nice mix of attack speed and lockdown in combination with your like 700 damage from Warpath. And yeah, that's the end of the game as he just runs it down. You can see it's very easy to keep up the 9 stacks with the Ags build plus the buffs to his ultimate. It just is that easy now. So in the past, it literally was a pain in the butt to try to keep up 9 stacks. Now it's just a walk in the park. All you need is some form of mana regen, which is why usually you're going to have a magic wand in the mid game. In this case, he's just going to have Pugna to give him the mana he needs. And yeah, that's going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed as he clubs them down, gets his level 25 talent in the fight here. And you can see when he skills it and builds some stacks, he legitimately has 700 damage. 700! Oh, God. You can imagine you can also buy crit at some point in the game. Like a Daedalus. You can actually crit for like 1400. But nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been enjoying TI so much, and I can't wait to continue to make more analysis on the event. If you have video ideas that you want me to do about TI, put them in the comment section down below. I like literally just want to hear what you guys want to see, and I will most likely make it. So yeah, I'll see you guys there, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.